Hi guys, this is Christoph, the Law of Attraction hypnotist. A couple of days ago, I was laying in bed and I was realizing that most people have absolutely no idea what hypnosis truly is. The ideas that they have and the information that they have come from TV programs, series, stories, and in most cases are the opposite of what hypnosis actually is. So I thought to myself, after being a hypnotist for almost a decade, it's time to talk about these myths and straighten some things out. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm also going to talk about how it actually feels to experience hypnosis. And also the difference between what normal hypnotherapy is and what law of attraction hypnosis is. Now let's take a look at the first kind of misconception about hypnosis, and that is that you lose control. If you would say that to some of my clients, they would probably laugh at you because they have experienced it themselves. When we do law of attraction hypnosis, my clients will always know what is happening during the experience. They will still be in control. They can come out of hypnosis whenever they want. I'm just there to guide them in the right direction and to tell them what they should be doing to create change and basically being a guide. The idea of the hypnotist being in control of the other person sometimes also comes from stage hypnosis. Let's say you go on a cruise and you go to one of these shows and you see these people on stage and they're falling on each other and they dancing and doing all kinds of stuff. Now, I've also have taken some training into stage hypnosis, and I can tell you that these stage hypnotists, they actually can never make somebody do something that they do not want. Let's say one of these, and you can actually, when you ever go on a cruise and you see this experience, go talk to these people after the show. Half of them will say, well, I was just playing along. I was having a great time, right? Entertaining. And the other half might say, well, yeah, I was feeling like, yeah, I wanted to do all of these things that the hypnotist was telling me to do. But you will never have anybody saying that they were doing something that they didn't want to do. And the reason why that is very simple. Let me go to the sketch about the mind. So this is your mind, or that's how most people would look at it. So over here you have your conscious mind and you have your subconscious programming. Most hypnotists would just focus on these things. And that's the big difference between, one of the big differences between my law of attraction hypnosis and normal hypnosis is that a normal hypnotist would just work with the subconscious program, would give some suggestions, and would try to change that subconscious programming. Some of them just go off of a script or stuff like that. That's definitely not how I work. But let's talk a little bit about a part of your mind that is very important, and that's your unconscious mind. What is your unconscious mind? It's a part of you, it's a non-physical part of you that has as its main job to protect you. Without our unconscious mind, we all would probably be dead of doing dumb stuff or stuff that is irresponsible, or, you know, when you're a kid, you would, if your unconscious mind would not protected you, you probably would be dead. So the main job of your unconscious mind is to protect you. And let's say the hypnotist gives you a suggestion that is great for you. That is great to transform your programming. The unconscious mind is going to love that. Why is it going to love that? Is because it wants the best for you. Why? Because it's you. It's a non-physical part of you. So it's going to give you a strong unconscious reaction, a positive reaction. That's why when you do great stuff for for people under hypnosis, they will be very thankful to you and they would love you for doing these amazing stuff. So they would be very pleased with what you do. Now, the opposite is also true. The unconscious mind, even when people are under hypnosis, is always present there. So let's say a hypnotist, let's say we have this kind of um, hypnotist that you can see in these kind of movies or whatever, let's say we have an evil hypnotist, right? And the evil hypnotist is giving a suggestion against the will of the person. What's going to happen is this unconscious mind is going to say, oh, no, you won't, right? And is going to create an even stronger barrier. It would immediately bring you out of trance, right? And it would give a very strong reaction. And believe me, if you are, I wouldn't want to be this hypnotist because you would probably get very hurt, right? Or bad things would happen to you if you would be that hypnotist, right? Because you would get people would get out of trance, but they would be very angry. They would be very aggressive. They would have a very strong reaction. And that's why it's not only impossible to take control and make them do things that they don't want to do, it's also would absolutely be very dumb for a hypnotist to do that. Another thing that I can tell you about the fact that hypnotists actually do not have this control over people like they're zombies or whatever, taking control over the world. Well, very simple. If that would be the case, then there would be people who would be in positions of power or put themselves into positions of power, and they would basically hypnotize everybody. And people would have no free will. They would have no way to think about stuff or no way to think, oh, this might be wrong or whatever, and they would just be slaves to them. Well, that's not the case, is it? Right? And this is actually you can see this in the world right now. When things aren't really done well for the people are kind of reacting to that. So, yeah, there's no such thing as this hypnotist who has this power to control people and stuff like that. It's just stories, right? Because otherwise, all hypnotists would be extremely wealthy, which they are not. Because a lot of the hypnotists are just doing hypnosis as a part-time thing after their hours of another job. They would have, let's say it's a male hypnotist, he would have all the women, and that's obviously not the case. It would have all the money. It's not the case. So yeah, the whole idea about this hypnotist being in full control over other people is just not true. So how do I think about that? Well, let's take a look. How I look at hypnosis is you actually gain more access to parts that create your existence. You look at your mind. What happens when you do hypnosis is, let's talk a little bit about the normal state of mind. So what's the normal state of mind is that this is you and you have an experience, you have all kinds of suggestions that you give yourself or you take on from other people, or you hear people saying things to you, which are then also suggestions. So what happens is your unconscious mind protects you, and you also have all kinds of programs. Now, the information that you will be receiving will go to something that I call the critical filter or critical filters. And what's going to happen is then the new information is going to be compared to some of the information and the things you have experienced in your past. And your mind is going to say, well, this information that is coming in is true or is not true for me. And sometimes the suggestions will go in like affirmations. And sometimes the affirmations will not make any difference. Why not? Is because the suggestions go through that filter and just get bounced right back out. And how can I prove this? I can easily prove this, right? If you would not have these critical filters, then you would believe everything that everybody says. So if somebody would say something, it would just go straight into your subconscious program and would start making changes. Not only would that be impossible for your mind because you would be constantly rewiring your mind, but that's not the case, right? So what happens is when your mind, your unconscious mind, potentially thinks, there's new suggestions that come in that are not good for them, just gonna block them off. Just gonna throw them out. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you have a business and you want to make a lot of money in your business. And let's say you have had some negative business experiences in the past and you want to grow that business and make it great. Now, let's say in the past you had an experience where you were basically failing in your business and it created a lot of upset for you and it created a lot of misery and a lot of things went wrong in your life because of it. Then your unconscious mind might think, you know what? Growing that successful business or growing that business is dangerous for you. So if you're gonna give yourself positive suggestions to create a better business, what's gonna happen is they get bounced off because it's dangerous, right? Now, what happens through hypnosis is that critical factor, that critical filter is temporarily going to be lessened to or even taken away, right? You can kind of think about it as a bouncer, right? Let's say you want to go to this high-end restaurant, but the last time you went to this high-end restaurant, you had some people with you that maybe some friends of friends and they got drunk and they got into an argument and they got into a fight. Let's take an extreme situation, got into a fight with some other people into that restaurant, and some of the stuff in the restaurant got broken. So what happens is, which in this case is the situation where that person had a business and it went wrong, and or a relationship. Sometimes it's like you had a relationship and things, you got really badly hurt and maybe you got cheated on or whatever the thing is that happened to you, and your mind thinks, well, it's dangerous for you to have a relationship, right? So let's go back to the story. Let's say you get thrown out of the restaurant. The next time you're going to want to go into the restaurant, the person that is standing there at the front is going to say, you're not going to come in because last time you broke all of the stuff in the restaurant and it cost us a lot of money, and yeah, you're not coming in. I got orders to not let you in. So what happens under hypnosis is you can kind of, let's say it's a bouncer or whatever. Let's think it's a club or whatever, right? Let's say it's a club, and it's like the bouncer is going on a break, and you are going inside, and you're going to go talk to the owner of the bar or the club or the restaurant, and you're going to say, you know what, I didn't really know this person, and I'm not like that, and you're right, it shouldn't have happened. And you talk things through. And what happens is, you come to an agreement with the unconscious mind. You start to resolve these things with the owner. So what happens is the next time, all of a sudden, your subconscious programming changes, right? So the next time you go into the restaurant, they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, you can come in, no problem. Come into the restaurant, have a great time, and you can make the changes," right? So all of a sudden, the affirmations that didn't work before, all of a sudden start working, or the visualizations, or 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 the other practices that you do, all of a sudden start to work again. Why? Because the unconscious mind doesn't see it as dangerous anymore, or you don't have any programming that blocks it, right? So that's kind of the the idea about hypnosis, the power of hypnosis, is that you can very easily and very quickly transform subconscious programs and make it stay like that, you know? So that's why I'm saying you basically are you're accessing parts of your mind that are basically controlling you, that are creating all of the thoughts that you have, all of the feelings that you have, that are creating literally your experience. Because your unconscious mind, you have to think about it. Do you have to do anything to have this experience where you're seeing the things around you, you're hearing things, you're feeling things? No. You have all kinds of stimuluses that come on your eyes. It goes through all kinds of filter processes, and in the back of your mind, you get this visual image, which is basically also a trance, right? Because what you're seeing is actually an interpretation of your mind. You have never lived outside of your mind, right? It's kind of, you could say it's trance. Same with the information, whether you say it's vibration or energy or stimulus, it goes on your ears. It goes through all kinds of pattern recognition. It goes to your mind. You create this audio, this sound that you're hearing, like my voice that you're hearing right now. That is just the creation of your mind. It's an interpretation of your minds, right? So these are all unconscious processes. And who does that? Your unconscious mind, right? So your unconscious mind basically creates your whole experience, if you think about that. Also in combination with your higher self. But your higher self, and that's something that in normal hypnosis, I can tell you probably 99% of hypnotists will not know about this. Your higher self creates basically also the blueprints for your experience, the blueprints for literally what you're going to manifest tomorrow and the days after and whatever, right? You get the picture. So it's a combination between your unconscious mind and your higher self that you basically manifest your experience in, right? Some people think the world is a very static place. It's not really true. If you think about this is you, think about law of attraction, this is your bubble of reality, and what happens is this bubble of reality is basically reflecting back to you what you believe, what you think, and the programs that you have. So it's like a one giant mirror that is reflecting back to you, back and forward in your experience. And you're just basically shifting from one parallel universe to another at every moment, right? That is connected to some of these blueprints that the higher self creates, and with the unconscious mind creating your experience, right? So yeah, you basically get access when it comes to manifestation, you get access to the part that creates your reality. So yeah, it's quite important. So yeah, you gain access to the parts of you that create your reality. So that's kind of the first misconception. Let's look at the next. You are asleep. Now, this comes from the idea that the hypnotist says sleep, right? Now, I also say that. And let me explain the reason why I say that is because sleep is associated with a lot of unconscious processes. For instance, you becoming more calm, you becoming more restful. When you are asleep, that's also connected to dreaming. When you're dreaming, that's also one of the natural ways your unconscious mind tries to resolve things to you is through dreams. It brings you in this state when you're in a dream, it tries to resolve some of your programs. Now, the only problem that sometimes dreams are not getting the results that the mind wants is because the language of the unconscious mind is very symbolic. And it's for people who are not really experienced that very, how would I say, harder to to understand and to interact with, right? Now, of course, you do that every night, but also when you're asleep, you have no control, right? When you are asleep, you're unconscious yourself. You don't have that. Well, everybody who does lucid dreaming will understand what I mean. What is lucid dreaming is when you become aware of that you're dreaming and you actually become fully conscious. And there's kind of layers in between, levels of consciousness, even when you're lucid dreaming. And when you're asleep, you basically, it's like, kind of like you're running on some kind of an autopilot. It's hard to explain, but you don't really have that full of a control. But I'm going off into something else right now. Let's bring it back to the hypnosis. When you say the word sleep, it kind of connects with that unconscious mind, brings the unconscious mind a bit more to the forefront. It's kind of a quick way of doing that. But you are not asleep, because when you are asleep, the hypnosis actually stops. And that's also a very interesting thing, is that some people, they think, well, you know what, I'm going to listen to some affirmations when I'm asleep, and that's going to reprogram my mind. Well, I can tell you that's not true. When I do hypnosis and I'm giving suggestions, the worst thing that can happen to you when you're in hypnosis, the absolute worst thing that can happen is that you fall asleep. Because then the hypnosis stops. Then I have to wake you back up, right? So then I clap with my hands and I say, wake up, wake up, wake up. And then I said, yeah, I will say your name and I will say, you went a little bit too deep in trance and you fell asleep. So let's bring you back to the proper state of trance. I will explain more about that state of trance a little bit later, but you get the idea, right? So the moment you fall asleep, suggestions do not go into your mind. It's all of the suggestions. People are not reacting to suggestions when they are asleep, right? So yeah, that's a big misconception. So you will not fall asleep. You will not fall into this dark hole or whatever, or you will not be, somewhere else or whatever. No, you still be aware of the state of mind that you're in. Let me explain this a little bit more. Or no, I will explain it when it comes to how it feels to be in hypnosis. Then I will dive a little bit deeper into that. Right. Let's look at the next misconception. I've never been into hypnosis. I've never been into trance. I don't know what that is. Ooh, it might be something unfamiliar. The truth is that actually every day you experience trance. Let me give you a couple of examples. Now, the first thing that I can say is that basically, if you think really deeply into it, then you understand that actually every experience you have is a trance experience, because like I said beforehand, your unconscious mind creates your visual, auditory, what you feel, all of that. It's basically a creation and it creates this experience. You could say that that's a trance. But let's say that we don't count that, right? Then you can kind of think about, let's say you're watching a movie. Let's say you go to the cinema and you're watching a movie on a big screen and you're enjoying it and you're really into the movie, and all of a sudden something happens to the main character and you don't like it, right? And you get a bit sad about it, and maybe you have a tear coming up, or maybe something amazing happens and you get a tear of happiness coming up. Oh, it's so beautiful, At that moment, you know that you're looking at a movie, and you know that the people in this movie are actually not really, they're basically actors, right? You know, it's their job. You know, they're following a story and they're creating. It's just one big play, but you allow your mind to convince You allow your mind to be convinced of that for now this is true, right? And you have this experience where you forget about the fact that you're even sitting in the cinema on a chair. You're like in the movie. You're experiencing. Same with series and soaps and stuff like that. Some people go even to the extent where they believe that the people who are in the soap are like are these people, right? It's not true, obviously, right? But you get the idea. Another trance experience that you will have maybe on a daily basis is maybe you listen to some music and you listen to music and you get have you ever experienced that you're laying in bed and you're listening to music and you're just really enjoying it, and the music is like it's massaging your emotions, you're kind of enjoying that, and you get all kinds of emotions coming up. It's great. Well, what's happening over there? You're in trance. That's kind of a trance experience. Another trance experience would be you go into sleep. When you're dreaming, you're interacting with the unconscious mind. That's trance. You do that every night. It doesn't feel unnatural for you to dream, right? No, it's normal for you. Another thing is, let's say you are driving your car and you're on the phone to your friend. You're having an earpiece and you're talking to your friend and you're looking around and you're talking about what happened in the day or something that happened in your life. And you're going into the conversation and having that great time with your friend. Who's driving the car? Well, it's your unconscious who's driving the car. It's this kind of, you could say that's also kind of a trance experience, because you allow your mind to let take control over your hands and make you go into the direction that you want. If you can remember the first couple of days that you learned to drive, you know that was very different for you, right? To that driving experience. So trance is something that happens to you on a daily basis. And you know what is also a trance? All of these beliefs that you have, all of these thoughts that you have. Let's say you don't believe that you're worthy of a relationship, and you're going over past experiences and you're creating a whole narrative around it. You think you're not deserving of love or whatever. That whole thing that you're thinking is false. It's not true. You're creating this trance experience where you make yourself believe that that's the case, because the universe doesn't believe that. Universe unconditionally loves you, right? So it's the opposite of what the universe thinks, but you make yourself believe that, right? That's a trance experience. Let's say you believe you are not worthy of abundance or the money that you want to come into your life. You make yourself believe that through some stories that you tell yourself, the beliefs that you picked up, past experiences. I'm not saying that these things haven't happened. I'm not saying that you cannot be considered right. But you're manifesting it over and over again for yourself. And that's a trance experience. So the question that you might want to ask in this situation is the hypnotist actually creating a trance? Or is the hypnotist bringing you out of a trance that's not true? Or changing the trance that you have so you can have a better experience in life, right? Some things to think about. So, as you can see, we are trance machines basically. Every day we are in trance, right? Now, of course, one trance is not the same as another trance. Hypnosis, or the way that hypnosis is done or should be done, is very, how would I say, it's very controlled. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know what's important to create change and stuff like that, and also bring the person to the right level. And there's quite some things that are important there. But in my opinion, it's very easy to bring somebody in trance. To me, it takes about, in a lot of cases, within 3 seconds, people start to go into a light trance when I do my hypnosis. So bringing people in hypnosis is very easy, in my opinion. but I've been doing it for a long time too. But what is quote unquote hard is, what do you do after you bring somebody in hypnosis? That's the hard part. That is the experience. That is the knowledge that you have to have as a hypnotist to create these changes. Bringing people in hypnosis is easy. But creating change is what is different between different hypnotists, and also what general hypnosis is and what law of attraction hypnosis is. So let's go to the next misconception. This is an interesting one. It's not compatible with my religion. And I've worked with people from different religions. I've worked with a lot of Christians, which, believe it or not, have a lot in common with law of attraction and also law of attraction hypnosis. The reason why some people or some religions might say, well, yeah, you should only read the Bible or eat the Quran or whatever it is, and only follow the word or stuff like that, is because first of all, that's what they believe, right? But second of all, is over the years, there's also an aspect of control that you kind of have to realize. There would be no reason for you to go to the church and listen to what the priest says if you could have your connection yourself with God. So that would kind of be not as beneficial to some churches or some other kind of religion institutions. What happens with hypnosis is that you can actually connect with God and the universe. Or basically, you don't do that in normal hypnosis, but it's part of law of attraction hypnosis. Is what happens is, let me explain this, is you can connect through the unconscious with the higher self. The higher self, first of all, knows everything about your life, all the information you need to know, it knows everything that's been planned beforehand by you, by God, for you to experience, or the universe. It creates the path for you, creates blueprints that create your whole experience, your manifested experience. And that part of you is also connected to the universe and God, to everybody, all that is, right? I'm already going to say some things about what the difference is between normal hypnosis and law of attraction hypnosis, is that you can connect with that part of through your unconscious with your higher self and the universe. You could actually get information from these parts, from your higher self and the universe, right? What is it that you have to do in life? What are the next right steps for you to do? I would, like most people, I would consider myself to be a smart being, right? And I think everybody thinks that about themselves to a certain extent, right? Unless they have a belief that somebody else told them that they're not, but that's another story. But I think naturally most people would think, well, yeah, I'm quite intelligent and I quite know what to do and stuff like that, you know? But the thing about it is, do you really know anything about your life? Do you know anything about the universe? You've picked up some things about your past. You've made some conclusions about things that happened and how the world works. But do you actually know how the universe works? Do you actually know how the world works? How do you know how your reality works? Even if you go really deeply into hypnosis, trance, law of attraction, other kind of laws of the universe, that is just the tiniest of tiniest knowledge that you can have in comparison to what the universe has or even your higher self has. You have to also understand that the human brain is only, or the humans are only capable of experiencing what is possible for a human to experience. The level of intelligence. Let me give you an example. Well, a fish probably thinks he's very smart too. Now, I don't know if a fish is smarter than a human or not. I don't know that, but let's assume it's not as intelligent, like from a thinking point of view and stuff, or figuring things out. or some other animals, you could say, well, maybe we're a bit smarter than these animals, right? Now, a lot of you guys will say, well, no, animals are smarter because they can follow their intuition and stuff like that. Well, yeah, but that's because they are connecting to their higher selves and the universe. So animals kind of do that in naturally as they go with nature and they know where to be and to do what they have to do, right? The thing about humans is we have this intellectual capacity that in a lot of cases blocks us a lot more than helps us in some cases, right? So especially when it comes to mindset, beliefs, all of these kinds of stuff. So yeah, you can connect with these deeper parts of your mind and yeah, get information from there. So we think we're that smart, but actually you can kind of understand that the universe knows everybody. The universe knows where everybody is. It knows what needs to happen. It knows who you need to talk to get your next business deal. It knows how to bring these people together, when your programming is right, because you can only manifest reflections of what you believe. But let's say you believe what it is that you want, or you believe things that are good for you. Well, then the universe knows how to connect, knows who you need to talk to, knows exactly what you need to do. So true law of attraction hypnosis, you kind of remove the subconscious programs that block you to have that connection with God, to have that straight connection with your higher self, to not get distorted information, to basically know what the plan. Because a lot of Christians will say, well, you know what, I want to follow what God wants me to do. I want to follow God's path. But the problem is, in a lot of cases, they can't, because they have all kinds of subconscious beliefs that are basically distorting the information, the intuition, and stuff that comes through, right? Law of attraction, hypnosis, when you remove the things that aren't working with you, you can basically, through law of attraction hypnosis, and this is a bit of a secret, I shouldn't really be saying this, but you can actually download programming from the universe or from God to help you manifest things that you want, and also on the path that you chosen to go on. Whether you believe in God or just in the universe, just spiritual, it's all the same. But you have this straight connection with God or the universe. So the whole idea that law of attraction would be something that could not be beneficial for any kind of religious progress or any kind of spiritual progress is absolutely mind-boggling to me. You know, it's like, no, that's actually what law of attraction hypnosis is made for. Is to make you manifest the things that you want. Is for you to connect to the universe as best as you can, and is for you to become as happy as you possibly can doing that. So in my opinion, that's one of the biggest misconceptions of them all. So let me delete these things. So let's go, let me actually create another one and put them over everything. Otherwise it's going to be a bit too distracting. Let's see if I can do that. We have one over here. Yep. We're going to make another one. Then we're going to dive into how it actually feels to be under hypnosis. What is the experience to be under trance, right? Let's scroll a little bit out. And let's make a new bit of a clear space for us. So how does it actually feel to be under hypnosis? And let me explain this a little bit with some levels of consciousness. So let's say this is your state of being awake, of being conscious, fully conscious. Here you're fully conscious. Here you are fully unconscious. You're asleep. Unconscious. Unconscious. You're asleep. You're basically knocked out. You're not even dreaming. It's like you're being in the deepest meditation ever. And then we have all kinds of different spaces. Like over here, you're fully awake. And let's say, let me first explain. Let's say you go to sleep. What happens? Well, you're fully conscious and you're You're fully awake. And then you say, you know what, I'm going to go to sleep. And you start relaxing. And your body starts to relax. And all of a sudden, you relax so deeply. And your unconscious mind will start bringing certain kind of images in front of you. Maybe some memories, maybe some nature scenes, maybe, yeah, you know, your mind can bring funny image. Maybe you're thinking about a monkey that's walking around somewhere, and then you're thinking about an airplane. It goes from one thing to another, right? And then all of a sudden you fall asleep. You're going deeply in, and you're asleep, and your body is repairing, and over here you're dreaming again, and you're very deep into where you're kind of unconscious. Now, what happens with hypnosis is that first you start being very aware, and you're going to, you will get suggestions, and when you got a great hypnotist, it will bring you into this wonderful kind of a trance experience that's somewhere probably in between here and there of deepness. How does that feel? Well, I like to always tell the idea of daydreaming. I want you to think of a time when you're having this wonderful daydream. And you're going into this, you're dreaming, you're awake, but you're in your thoughts, and you're in your fantasy, and you're dreaming away, or maybe you're going to go on a vacation soon, and you're thinking about the vacation. You're going into this daydream of things that might happen over there, how you're going to be there in this wonderful place, and you kind of, can kind of see what might happen. You have some visualizations naturally coming up. You can have, you're in this kind of a enjoyable, your body's relaxed, you're enjoying that. And all of a sudden somebody says to you, hey, did you do this and that and that? And it's like you jump awake, you know, you're like, oh yeah. Or maybe you had this happen at school, right? And you're daydreaming about something, and all of a sudden teacher says something, oh, you pay attention. And you kind of startle yourself getting awake, right? Now you could say that a daydream it's not a daydream. Obviously, hypnosis is not a daydream. But how it feels, I would say that it's kind of, you would say, when you're in a light hypnosis, that's kind of how it would feel. What's going to happen is, let's say you go into trance. You start to go into trance, you might feel that your body or your body starts to become more heavy or more light. You get into this, it's like a warm blanket that's getting laid over you. You stop thinking about stuff. You feel really good. You start to notice that when suggestions are given, all of a sudden you will get some pictures in your head. Well, some people actually don't get pictures, but they get kind of like in a daydream, kind of like a thought structure. But some people will, for instance, let's say you are a person who can visually see things, which most people are, then you will have a very more clearer of a picture. But it's kind of in this kind of a daydream thing. You would go on an adventure, but it would feel much more realer to you and much more profounder to you. Hypnosis is a very profound experience. Especially, I wouldn't say that's the case with normal hypnosis, especially with law of attraction hypnosis, that's the case, because when I do law of attraction hypnosis, I kind of, how would I say, I interact with that unconscious, and I let that unconscious bring these experiences stronger to the foreground, right? I let them, let me give you an example. You would be in a forest, and you would maybe, let's say you like dogs, like puppies. If you don't like puppies, maybe it can be a cat or a bunny or whatever, right? Whatever the thing is that you think is nice, right? You have that animal and you follow that animal around, and that animal is going to bring you to a person that is going to tell you something about your life. And then your unconscious will start giving you information about things that it wants to resolve. And then we go through all kinds of processes. We have direct communication with your unconscious mind, and we start to resolve things there and then. In a lot of cases, these things are things that your unconscious wanted to resolve with you for ages. You might be dragging it along for 10 years or even longer, right? And we start to resolve the things that need to resolve for you to live the life that you want. So you start to resolve all of this programming over here that's blocking you. The unconscious knows all of your programs. So what happens is we are resolving that and it disappears. Or we get other programming or install other programming that is good for you. So you can have that direct connection with the higher self and the universe. So yeah, we start to resolve all of these things for you. And obviously your unconscious mind is going to love that. So it's going to make you feel great while doing that. Right? Because it's beneficial. And this is one secret that I can tell you about emotion. The way that you feel is a reflection of what your higher self thinks about things, or what your unconscious in combination with your higher self thinks about things. If you're having certain kind of beliefs and you feel negative, it means your higher self says what you're believing is actually not true. You're just blocking yourself. If you have fears, if you have doubts, the higher self is saying it's all nonsense, right? It's even you can feel this if you really think about that. If you get a negative or you have this fear is like a tension in your chest, it's like this, it's a discord in your chest or in your heart or in your mind, wherever, however you want to say it. It feels like something's off. And that's exactly what it is, because your higher self is not going to go with you into your disillusions, right? That are not going to serve you. You see that that's not correctly written. Anyway, doesn't matter. So your higher self is not going to allow you to allow it to change its mind, obviously not. But if you're going to start getting programming that is great for you, or that your higher self agrees with, what's going to happen is naturally you're going to start thinking more like your higher self. And what the natural result of that is happiness. You will enjoy your life. You will be able to trust life. There's a lot of people who do have a lot of things in life and that are unhappy. How do I know? I've talked to them. Over the last years, I've talked to a lot of people, very wealthy people, like normal wealth, right? Then also to very poor people, which to me are all the same in value. I can tell you there are very rich people who actually don't really enjoy their life, right? They are miserable for their own reasons. And that's because even though they have some positive programming around money, which helps them to naturally attract wealth into their life, which is a great thing, they're still not in alignment with that higher self. And I'm talking about people who have manifested hundreds of millions in their life. I've talked to few of them, not a lot, but few, very few, right? But not everything, or they're just not happy in the same way. So what's the point in life then, right? Like you can have all the money that you want. If you're not happy, what's the point? If you can't really enjoy it, what's the point of having all that money? Even if you have a relationship that you want, the most beautiful man, the most beautiful woman, the most kind man, the most kind woman. Let's say you have programming where you get triggered for nonsense reasons, or let's say your mind just starts to find fault in other people, even though they are very good for you. They're actually the right people for you. What's the point? And you're going to create misery in your life. It's if you think about it, what most people want at the end of the day is they want to be happy. They will say, well, I want money, I want a better relationship, I want this career, I want this boat, I want this house. And that's all great. Because the reason why they want this is because they think they will be happy when they have all of these things, which in a lot of cases you will find it's not the case. And some of the people who are actually manifesting more wealth, if you're listening to this video and that's the case, and you have experienced this in the past, maybe now you are actually very happy, but maybe in the past you did get more success, but you didn't felt that happy. The thing about it is, as long as your programming is not good, your mind will always find fault in your life. Your mind will always find things to be annoyed about. It will always find things to be angry about, things to be anxious about. You know, as long as that programming doesn't change, the end result, the end emotional change will not be different. Because it's actually not the things. It's actually not the relationship, or it's actually not the money. For instance, if you look at the relationship, it's something that the mind uses or the programming uses to attach to kind of create misery or happiness about, depending which programming that you have, right? And here we're talking about the egoic mind. Unless you resolve your subconscious programming, you will always have to deal with this egoic mind. Now, what's the egoic mind? The egoic mind is basically the part of you, is you that experiencing life, right? It's your personality structure, all the positive aspects of it, all the negative aspects of it. We think the thing about this, and this is also when it comes to the difference between normal hypnosis and law of attraction hypnosis, or even a lot of the mindset programs and stuff like that, they focus on the egoic mind, or to work with that. Or even spiritual programs is, let's say you were thinking about mindfulness and stuff like that. What does it do? Well, it basically tries to ignore the egoic mind, tries to be in the present, which is absolutely amazing thing to do and a good thing to do. But the thing about it is, at one point or another, that programming can still attack you, right? And then you have to do your mindfulness practices and stuff like that to get you out of there. But at the end of the day, something's not working. Now, what would be great if you would be a master at mindfulness, but also resolve your programming? Then you would just be in the moment enjoying life and would not be constantly be attacked by that subconscious programming. Let's think about some other kind of mindset programs. Let's say mindset programs about self-image and manifestation and affirmations and stuff like that. That's great. They say, well, you need to change your self-image, which is true. You change your self-image, you're going to start manifesting other things. But the thing about it is that if you think that self-image is the end all of everything, I can tell you your self-image is also, how would I say it, you're programming that self-image, that ego structure of the mind. They can play around with you and that self-image as much as they want. It can change this, or things can happen and your whole self-image is again in the wrong situation, and you try to get it right because you think if you got to get that all right, or all of that subconscious programming right, then you will manifest it. And that is also true, but it's a limited truth, because actually it's not how would I say, it's not a full truth. It's like the things that will make a big change come from your higher self and the information that comes through there. You as a being, basically, we as our egoic mind, we think we're in control, but actually we're not in control about life. Who is truly in control? The universe and God is in control. And the higher self, who creates the blueprints of your experiences, right? And the path you've chosen before you go into this reality, and everything that is you want that's connected to that. Okay, of course your higher self wants to give you that, but we think we're in control. The ego is not in control. The ego is, we are here to experience life, to enjoy life, and to trust the higher self to give us the right information and do the things that we need to do in life, to give us the the impulse to talk to the right people or to bring us the right people, because sometimes you don't even have to take any action. I have had people who I've done one-to-one hypnosis with. I removed the money blocks they have, and the next day they have somebody contacting me with a multi-million-dollar deal. This has happened. They didn't have to do anything. The person came to them. Why? Because very simple. How does that work? Very simple. You have, let's say it's in your desires. It's in your desires over here that you want the things that want to have a lot of money, and it's in your future. The universe wants to give it to you because the universe is full of abundance. It wants to give you all of the things that you want. And what happens is you have programming over here that blocks it. Well, yeah, the money can't flow in, can it? So what happens is, let's say you get rid of this programming, all of a sudden, through the law of attraction and any other kind of laws that are connected to manifestation, you're finally allowing yourself to manifest the things that are good for you, right? So the belief gets removed, and the universe can give you these experiences. So you shift to a reality where somebody contacts you, where you have the money that you want or the deal that you want, and also in the way that's good for you. Now, the other day I was talking to somebody, and he was saying, well, yeah, I do get amazing and great financial deals, but it tend to be with people who are dishonest to me, and it ultimately leads into misery and things failing and sometimes lawsuits and stuff like that, That's also subconscious programming, So that's why it's important for you to clear all of that subconscious programming out. And if you do a conscious manifestation course, let's be honest, guys, we don't know what our subconscious programs all are. We might have an idea. We might do some exercises, ask ourselves some questions, and things might come up. But do we truly know what all of our programs are? We don't. People who have been working in spirituality or working on themselves spiritually over years and our own mindset know that things all of a sudden you realize over time that, oh, I have this belief about that. I never thought I would have that. Years I've been in this illusion, it's because it's subconscious. You're not aware of it. You could basically say it's above conscious because it's non-physical, but you get the idea, right? We're not aware of it. It's unconscious, but your unconscious mind knows everything that's in your mind, all of your programs. So that's the wonderful thing about law of attraction hypnosis. And the other day I got the question also is, so how do you know that law of attraction is going to work for me? Let me explain that. Well, if you think about it, you have your conscious mind and you have your subconscious programming. This is what the normal hypnosis would do. So let's just take a look at normal hypnotherapy. They would say, well, yeah, we're going to give the subconscious mind some programs. We're going to run through some scripts. We're going to run through some basic, how would I say it, protocols that I've learned in my hypnosis courses that I've taken, studies that I've done, and we're going to run these programs and we're going to try to resolve it. So then they make some dents in here and they remove some things, and you will have some positive evolution out of that. You will, in most cases, it will have a positive effect. But as you can see, it is only limited to the whole idea of the ego mind. It's whole limited to the idea that it has been taught in society that you as the human, you as man or woman, you control your own experience and you have to make everything happen and you have to force things and you have to try to control everything and stuff like that. Basic society way of thinking that you get taught in schools, that people get taught from generation to generation. That's how most people, I have to make stuff happen. And that's also where all of the anxiety, all of the fears, all of the worries, they all come from there, right? So normal hypnotherapy will try to help you to get more in control of your mind, try to control your mind like it's your, you have to force it to be what you want it to be, and yeah, then we will get what we want. That's kind of normal hypnotherapy, or normal any self-help, or even manifestation programs, conscious manifestation. I'm going to do these exercises and I'm going to force my, like, or even with affirmations, I'm going to write something down 1,000,000 times. I'm going to force that subconscious through repetition to change in the way that I want it to be. And in some cases that will actually work, because it will attack the certain kind of programs that were right for you to change, and the unconscious mind allows it, and it kind of works out. But in a lot of cases it also doesn't, which I have also talked to a lot of people on calls and stuff, that just didn't get them the results, or they got their results in one area of their life and not in other areas of their life. So there's this whole idea that you have to fight your mind, you have to fight your programming, you have to fight your paradigms, all of that kinds of stuff. No, you have to, it's the opposite of what you actually want to be doing. What you truly want to do is you want to connect with deeper parts of your mind, let them resolve the programs over here, become best friends with your unconscious mind. Why? Because it also has this interaction with your universe, and it become best friends with your unconscious mind and let it help you to manifest what it is that you want. Because it's both you. Your mind wants good things for you. You don't have to fight it. Because what happens is, if you fight your mind, well, your mind is going to get even stronger. Oh, I have this fear about money. Well, no, we're not going to be fearful. We're going to go for it. We're going to work hard, and we're going to do. You're not getting the results that you want. You get even more frustrated, right? You get even more worried. Oh, we're going to use willpower, right? But if the unconscious mind, if there's some programming that the unconscious mind thinks, well, it's not safe for you to do that with your programming that you have, it's just going to fight stronger again. Or let's say you think about relationships, you want to meet somebody new, and you want to, let's say you're a man and you see a beautiful woman and you want to go talk to that person, right? And a lot of men will recognize this probably when they were younger, right? Let's say, yeah, I'm going to go talk to this woman, to this girl or whatever. And what happens is the mind says, no, you don't. Right? So, and probably some women will also have experienced this themselves from some boy coming to talk to them, is that all of a sudden they start to say all kinds of stupid stuff, right? And men also know that they're saying stupid stuff at times. That's the mind is just basically self-sabotaging you, right? It's just your mind pulling that handbrake. So fighting your mind is never going to lead to what you want. What it is going to lead to is burnout, worrying, doubts, fears, lack of energy. That's going to, this whole ego mind kind of way of doing that is going to lead to. What I do with my program, with law of attraction, hypnosis, and in my coaching that's connected, because some people actually don't know that. They think I only do law of attraction hypnosis. It's actually, in my program, it's actually a combination between coaching and hypnosis, because you have to understand that you have to start thinking differently about the world. Because if you're going to think like how most people think in the world, you're not going to get the results that you want. You're not going to be able to trust your mind in the same way that you should be. If you not know how to interact with your unconscious in the right way, it's not going to lead into the direction that you want. If you do not know how to consciously manifest in this non-egoic kind of way, in this interaction with the universe and everything, well, it's just you're not going to get the best results. It's a combination between the hypnosis and the coaching that is going to give you amazing results. I come from a very different kind of mindset, a very kind of different outlook in life that took me almost a decade to put together true trance experiences, true hypnotizing other people, true communicating with the unconscious mind in lucid dreams, in hypnosis, learning from other people, learning from spiritual teachers over the years, having this obsession about this, and coming to conclusions, like my life experiences, my clients' life experiences, all of that knowledge, all of the things that have come out of that, you're going to get on a platter, easy for you to digest, easy for you to just change your mind on the conscious level, but also change your mind on the subconscious level. Because at the end of the day, what's most important? Obviously, the hypnosis. The hypnosis creates, in my opinion, probably 90% of the change. But there's the other 10% is a very important 10% also to get right. And that's what that's why I think it's also important when it comes to my program. That's why I want to work one-to-one with people, so we can have that interaction, so people truly understand what I mean. And also you'll get feedback in the hypnosis from the universe itself, from God itself, what he thinks about things, what he thinks about what I say, and you can make up your own mind, right? But you get kind of the picture, right? It comes from a very different point of view than conscious programs. Most hypnotists. There are even, believe it or not, there are hypnotists who have never been in hypnosis. I don't understand that. Yeah, you will see that when you communicate with them. The way that I do it, it doesn't take a lot of sessions for you to transform your life. Let me give you some examples. I had one guy, he manifested a contract of 10.6 million. How did that happen? That happened after 2 hypnosis sessions. What was he making before? Somewhere in the 300,000. It's quite a big leap, isn't it? I had another guy, I think it took 3 sessions, and he manifested 3.6 million. But then I also had another guy who did my full program, which is about 5 sessions, right? With coaching. And after his 4th session, he manifested the biggest amount until date, and that's 14 million. How much was he making before? Kind of in the same level as the guys that I was talking about before. I had one guy who was selling insurances. He was making 30K. After hypnosis, we removed some of his money blocks and stuff like that. He manifested getting into contact with somebody in real estate. That person saw something in him, and they started a business together. Within a year, he manifested his first million in that business. It's a big shift, isn't it? I've had people manifest the love of their life through hypnosis, getting married and stuff like that. How do you think I have manifested my amazing relationship with my girlfriend? Wife, who's been fantastic. Give me a second. I kind of get tears to my eyes about it. It's also true hypnosis, you know? I hypnotize myself out of certain kind of things that I've believed about myself. Oh, give me a second. So yeah, it's law of attraction. Hypnosis can absolutely transform your life completely. So yeah, that's why. That's also why I do it, to have that strong impact on people's life. That's what I want to do with my life. I want to have that strong impact on people's life. Anyway, so that's basically the difference between normal hypnosis and law of attraction hypnosis. So I hope this video has explained a lot about law of attraction hypnosis, some misconceptions about hypnosis. I hope this is giving you a positive feeling about hypnosis. I hope you learned a lot about it. And if you have any questions about hypnosis, I would love for you to put that in the comments so I can make some more videos about it. Because I got a couple of people who have sent me some questions, which I will make short. I know this is quite a long video. The next videos are going to be like the short videos where I will be like answering 1 or 2 questions very quickly. Thank you so much for watching. and I hope I will speak to you soon. Have a great day. Goodbye.